And welcome to Megan Morris TV. Today I have two special guests with me. They are the authors of Victoria's Voice. And if you can think about ways that you could save 200 people a day, you got to read this book. It's very heartfelt, written by both David and Jackie Siegel and Victoria, in her own words, some of the pain and suffering that our kids go through. And this is a book we really want to get out there. We want every parent to read this book. As a parent, it was really tough for me to get through this book. Knowing Victoria, what a beautiful child she was, and you see these kids. They grow up with you. You go to birthday parties, and you don't know the suffering that goes on in their lives, it's just really important to read this. But I wanted to have them on today to be able to talk about what they're doing to get the word out and why they wrote the book. So.
Thank you so much, and it's very emotional.
It is.
And it was very difficult. Our daughter passed away almost 4 years ago, and when she passed away from a drug overdose, she had left a message saying that she wanted us to publish her diary because she felt that her diary could help save lives. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, over 200 people a day are dying every day from the drug epidemic, and that's totally preventable.
Right.
And it's getting worse. And that's why 3 years later, I finally got the courage to come out and publish her diary.
Even though our names are on the book as the author, we really didn't write the book. We just compiled all the information. Half of the book is written by Victoria before her death,
right,
that showed what she went through before she got involved in drugs and also after she got involved. And it goes right up until almost to when she died. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it is all the information that I've been able to gather in the last 4 years fighting this horrible pandemic. Anyone that reads this book will be able to see what's happening with their own children and prevent the same thing happening to them.
Well, that's what I wanted to mention, is that this book, it is a Victoria's diary, word for word. And we also have the parts that my husband and I wrote. The diary is actually in the yellow pages, and the white pages are what we wrote.
Right.
And this book is good for parents to know that the same thing can happen to them, like right under their noses. Like we were talking earlier,
yes.
like all of our children, they go through problems in high school, get bullied and pressured into
yes.
doing things that aren't right.
And people don't understand. It starts off small. When Victoria was depressed, you take her. You do what any parent does. You take them to a doctor, and a lot of doctors prescribe medication to help them with depression. And a lot of times these medications, which are very well needed, but it can escalate to other things. And I know she really struggled with it, and she tried to get away from it herself. And it's a very tough battle, very difficult.
Well, you know what happened with Victoria? We took her to a psychiatrist, and she had a lot of anxiety with all the pressures from school, and so that he prescribed Xanax.
Right.
And then after like a couple of months, she never went back to the doctor, never asked me to go back. And I found out later, too late, that she was getting her drugs from school. The kids at school, at the high school, had a pill press. So she had an unlimited supply, and she just built her tolerance, like they call them Xanny bars.
Wow.
Well, it's a horrible epidemic, and people are dying from ignorance. The last 5 pages of the book are talking about that. The fact, for example, when someone overdoses, there is an antidote called naloxone
Yes.
that people can take. This is a sample of one of the forms delivery systems. This is called Narcan. And up until 2 years ago, none of the Central Florida police were carrying, or fire department or first responders were carrying this. So people were dying. They would discover someone unconscious, and by the time they called the medics, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, they were dead. Now the police are carrying this, and just in Central Florida alone, over 2,000 people have been saved in the last 2 years. And we went to Washington, and we got a law passed called the CARA Act, and now there's money for every police officer, fireman, first responder in the country. There's several $1 billion that have been allocated. So I know in Central Florida we saved a couple thousand people, but all over the country we have no idea. But Victoria's legacy is going to be that as a result of her death, thousands, hundreds of thousands are going to live, and that's what we're working on. And that's the reason for the book. It wasn't to make money. In fact, all the money from the book is going into the Victoria Siegel Foundation.
Right.
But it's to save lives, and that's what we do every day now, is just to try to save lives. I mean, 200 people are dying every day from a drug overdose. 200. It's like an airliner crashing with 200 people on board. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, we have to end this epidemic.
Right, right.
And
It's touching everyone, this drug epidemic.
but it's not a endless battle. There is a way that we can end it. It's going to take tough love, but we're going to have to start drug testing kids in middle school, 14, 15-year-old kids. It's the only way. We can treat the people that are already addicted with treatment, with medicine, counseling, but we have to stop people from getting addicted, and the only way to do that is through parents drug testing their kids, schools drug testing. As you know, in Central Florida, there are 5 private schools. They all do drug testing, and the children they're considered drug-free. Whereas in the public schools, you can go into the hallways and buy any drug you want. So we have to put an end to this. And like I said, it's going to take tough love, but we have to do it.
Right. We have to have those conversations with our children, with our friends, our community. How can we find the book?
Well, the book is available at Barnes & Noble. It's also available at Amazon.
Great.
Yeah, so we're already on our second printing, and it's only been like about 3 weeks since the book came out.
Wow. I know.
So-
I heard the line was out the door the other day at
Yes, we had a
Barnes &
book
Noble.
signing at Barnes & Noble.
Yes.
The line was out the door. There was like a 2-hour wait and stuff. And
Yeah, people want to know. They want to be able to help their families.
We
And I
could-
know
we could-
Dr. Oz too, right? You're going to be on Dr. Oz?
I'm going to be on Dr. Oz.
We could do
at the
a
end
book
of the month.
signing every day and never even touch the number of
I know.
places.
But the more we can get it out there, what are the websites that people should go to for more information?
Well, right now I have everything, therealqueenofversailles.com.
Okay.
And I also have if anyone does Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, if they type in The Real Queen of Versailles.
Okay. And
All one word.
Right. And then Victoria's Voice.
And then we also have a Victoria's Voice, I think it's victoriasiegelfoundation.com
Okay.
is hers. But there's a link from the realqueenofversailles.com.
Okay.
There's a link to Victoria's Voice.
Let me just add to the people who buy the book, this is not a book to put on a shelf.
Right.
This is a book to read. It's a book to read, have your children read it. It's a book to pass around and have as many people. The information that's in this book, had I had it 4 years ago, my daughter would still be alive today.
I
So, so I want everybody to read it, to show it to their children, to show it to their friends, and spread it out. Because, as I said before, people are dying from ignorance. They don't know, have any idea
It's not
how
always
bad this
obvious.
epidemic is.
But what I want people to know is this book can save your child's life.
You know, it's interesting because you think when you think of a child that's taking drugs, you think, oh, I could spot them out. They're good, but I mean, I saw Victoria all the time. She lived around the corner from me, and she was smiling. She'd wave to me all the time, say hi. She's peppy, beautiful,
Sweet, beautiful girl.
One time we were skiing, and her sisters were little, and she was teaching them how to snowboard. And one of the twins dropped her mittens on the mountain. You could see them up in the mountain. So she just took her gloves off, put them on her sister, took her back up the hill. I mean, she never thought about herself first. She was the most compassionate, thoughtful, sweet, happy child. So I would never have seen the signs. And that's what, when I read this book and I saw how she was feeling, I was so devastated because I thought, gosh, my own kid. I mean, you think of your own children and the things that they go through, and you don't even know, because they don't want to burden you with it. I think a lot of times.
No, they don't, or they're ashamed, or they're afraid, to get exposed.
Yeah.
And
Well, this book will open up people's eyes.
Yeah.
What to look for. Had we known what to look for, as I said, she'd still be alive today.
And one of the things Victoria wanted to do in life was to open up a Ricky Ticky tavern out in Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, I remember.
And she wanted everyone just to be barefoot. She was going to have everyone check in their shoes at the front door because she was like kind of hippie Ricky.
Yes. She had great ideas.
So we opened up a Ricky Tiki tavern at the Cocoa Beach Pier.
Oh, fun.
And
it's really great.
I don't know, are people barefoot? I don't think the
they can be barefoot because it's on
health
a dock.
department would allow that. But
So when you go to the Cocoa Beach Pier, it's all the way at the end.
Right.
And when we had our ribbon cutting, I felt that Victoria was there at the ribbon cutting because the oceans are usually pretty smooth, and
Right.
we do have waves there, but they were the oceans was going like crazy that day.
Wow.
It's like, hey, look at me, I'm here,
Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, it's nice to be able to laugh, but this epidemic is causing a lot of families to suffer like we are.
No.
One advice I would give to a family that loses a loved one due to the drug epidemic is don't crawl into bed and become a basket case, but get out like Jackie and I have and do something about it. We've traveled the country. As I said, we went to Washington, got laws passed. I spoke in front of Congress. I've been to dozens of rehabs all over the country, and I can tell you that most of the addicts that I've listened to their life stories, they don't start with heroin.
No.
They start with marijuana. They end up with heroin. So when people tell you that marijuana is not the gateway drug, they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, heroin has a lot of great benefits that's important to people, and I know people that do marijuana and never would do another drug.
There are.
So I wouldn't put marijuana to the blame, because then you go back, then you want to blame alcohol, or before that a sugar. It's easy to blame something.
Well, I'm just telling you that.
So we've got different views on that, obviously.
It sounds like we do. Are we going to have a debate on marijuana now? I hate to tell you, but I'm going to win that debate. I've listened to too many addicts, and they all start at 14, 15 years old with experimenting with marijuana. They end up heroin and cocaine addicts.
Even worse is the crystal meth.
Some start with sports injuries, and doctors overprescribe painkillers like Vicodin and Percocet and all that. But most of them start with marijuana.
I wanted to mention also, on the realqueenofversailles.com website, I'm making available, I made a video, kind of like a documentary, after Victoria died, following me and David and our family around of how we coped with our loss. So if anyone wants to go and see that, I think it could be enlightening for them.
Okay.
And in fact, I should send you a link to it.
Sure.
So you can see it if you haven't
Yes.
seen it already.
No, I haven't
Or
seen
you
it
can
yet.
come over and watch it with me.
Okay. Okay.
We'll have a pajama party. But we are working on a feature film, a scripted film, and also another documentary that's all being professionally in the works right now.
Okay, wonderful.
We're doing all we can to save lives. That's our goal. I have a large company, and I basically turned it over to my executives, and this is what I do most of the time.
Right.
We're going to be going out and traveling around the country. We're going to L.A. we're getting an award for what we're doing in L.A., and we're just wherever we have to go.
Yeah, I just received an award in Seattle for the Global Beauty Masters, which is, it's kind of like the Oscars for beauty pageant winners,
Right,
people
right.
involved in the beauty industry. And I got the award for the philanthropy award.
That's
for being,
wonderful.
For
I mean,
a national award.
Right. It's wonderful that you take all that
And I was
you
up
bring it
against a
back.
lot of people that, like with all the beauty contestants, they always have a platform.
Right, they always have wonderful
So I was
foundations.
up against all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
The Mrs. America pageant, their platform is Victoria's Voice Foundation.
And Mrs. World, when we're hosting Mrs. World, this coming weekend,
Yeah,
actually
next
Saturday,
week, this week.
May 4th,
So it's wonderful ways to get it out there.
at Las
Any
Vegas.
way we
And
can.
No, there's wonderful platforms. I mean, you do it every way you can to get it out there. Pass the books around, buy them, read them, give them to your friends, have your children read them.
I mean, I wish these books were in every school library. I wish.
Well, they probably will be.
Well, I hope they
Yeah.
are.
Yes, right.
But like I said, the information in it will save your child's life.
Yes,
You're
you're right. The real reward is saving lives.
It's every parent's responsibility to have this book available
Yes.
and read it until the pages become worn, because yeah,
And I
What is it
can't
about
tell you
family?
how many people have come up to me or David telling us that we've saved their lives, either with like someone that received Narcan. If it wasn't for
you know.
us, they thanked us for having that
I
available.
showed this, but somebody could be laying on the ground,
Right.
turning blue, one breath from death, and you put this in their nose, and you push this little lever on the bottom, and within 2 to 5 minutes, they will be telling you what they took.
And
But
it allows you like another 90 minutes,
It
right?
buys you 90 minutes of time, enough time to get to an emergency room, start the detoxing, get on an IV. Because, again, ignorance, you can't just give it to somebody and then leave them.
No,
because
that's right.
you have receptors in your brain that control your breathing. The drugs coat those receptors and your breathing stops.
Right.
This cleans off the receptors and you start breathing. It's like a light switch.
Right.
Like but
It's expensive, I
you
know,
still
so,
have the
yeah.
drugs in you.
Right,
So
right.
in 90 minutes, you would stop breathing again. So
Right.
you'd have to give somebody one of these every 90 minutes. So
Or get them to the hospital right
now,
away.
when you,
Yes.
you get them to the hospital and you save their life and you get them on detox, now another fallacy, which is also talked about in the book, is most parents will send their kids to a rehab for 30 days because that's all the insurance company will pay for. Worst thing you can do. You cannot get over an addiction in less than 90 days. So what happens? They go to rehab, they get counseled, they get detoxed, and then they're kicked out after the money runs out, and they're the most vulnerable that they'll ever be because
their tolerance is down.
You know,
Right.
Like their
and
body's a
then,
virgin to the
you know,
drugs
they've been
again,
detoxed.
you know?
Now they go back, they fall off the wagon, and they start taking the same dose they when they went in.
Before,
But their
it's too
body
much,
cannot tolerate it. More people die after 30-day rehab than any other time. But these are things that
People don't know, and
They don't
that's
know.
why there's so much. That's why there's so much good information. Not only the diary, which is so compelling, but that information, like you just shared. I mean, people don't understand. They don't know about this medication, and I mean, I think every household should have that. I think every household should have this. I mean, these are things that save our kids.
I talked to parents that have a child who's addicted. They don't even know what the antidote is. I mean, if you're playing with rattlesnakes, you would know about anti-venom, or if you have diabetes, you know about insulin.
Yes.
If you have a bad heart, you know about nitroglycerin, but nobody knows about naloxone. But I can understand that because it's only been out for 48 years.
Well, where can we buy this? Where can we get this?
Walgreens. We got a law passed in Tallahassee, and most states have also passed it. You don't need a prescription. Just go to Walgreens or CVS or Walmart or wherever you buy your drugs. You can buy it over the counter.
Yeah, you don't need a prescription. And
This is the cheapest one. There's others on the market. There are some that actually you have to put it all together and all. And
Too much work.
Can you
No,
imagine
there's
It's
one
an
in the
emergency.
small-
Yeah.
somebody's laying on the ground and you got to fumble around trying to put it all together?
Well-
This one's simple. You take it and you put it in the nose and
it's like,
they
Does it
don't
have a
put-
long
don't
shelf
put
life?
the-
Do you know?
And not only
I don't know what the
this
shelf life is.
It's at least a couple years, maybe longer, but this is 100% safe. Let's say somebody's laying on the ground sleeping, and
you
you
think,
give
right.
it to them. I could do this, have no effect on me. Only if you have drugs in your system will it affect.
oh, so it's
It's
totally safe.
FDA approved, 100% safe. It should be in every medicine cabinet. It should be in every.
Well, let me tell you a quick story with this Narcan here. There was a party over in Lake Butler Sound last year, and someone had heard about the Narcan. They bought it, and this one guy had it in his glove compartment and never had to use it. He went to this party. Someone had overdosed. He ran up to the car, got the Narcan, and he saved the person's life. So it's even good to keep in your car, even if you don't do drugs, but you go to a party. It was just great that he had it on hand. And the police officers were telling me they also use Narcan on their dogs, on the drug dogs, because this fentanyl is so strong that when the dogs go drug sniffing and a couple grains can kill a person, that they've actually used this on their dogs, on the police dogs.
How about that?
No, this is probably the greatest miracle drug ever invented that nobody knows about. Well, we're trying to get the word out, and we have gotten the word out, but
So with our
right.
Victoria's Voice book, that's part of our platform with the foundation about
Yes.
getting the Narcan to help save lives.
Right.
And that's part of, and our foundation,
You
it's
know,
also about getting the word out about
another
the
thing-
epidemic.
another thing that's, don't mean to interrupt you, but another thing that is in the book is people have drugs laying on their bathroom counter in their medicine cabinet. Your
Somewhere.
medicine cabinet is the biggest drug dealer there is. You have to lock up your prescription drugs. There's a big problem right now with people. In fact, you're in this open houses. All of the houses that you stayed, they have open houses. People, they're not to buy the house, but to steal the prescriptions
Yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
medicine cabinet. And
They
then
raid
people
the
don't think
medicine
about
cabinets.
that.
Right. Your children. Yes.
Yeah.
You go have a toothache and you go to the dentist. He gives you a 30-day supply of painkillers.
Right.
After 2 days, you feel fine.
Right.
And where's the other 28 pills go? In the medicine cabinet,
Right.
where kids or their friends can come and take them. So all these things we don't even think about. I mean, we're as guilty as everybody else.
But kids can be tricky.
Yes.
I mean, someone was telling me that their friends, some would try to raid the mom's medicine cabinet and stuff. So she would keep her bedroom door shut or locked when she's not there. And she was, whenever she took a shower, the kid would get a ladder and go through the bathroom window while she was in the shower because
It's the only time
that's the
they
only
have to-
time that like she wasn't like around or something. So
Yeah, well,
they
gosh,
figured it out.
I hope this sheds light on a lot
I
of
hope
subjects
so.
for
Listen,
people.
our goal, as I said, is to save lives. And if what we're doing today and the book and all saves one life, it's well worth the effort. Hopefully, it'll save thousands of lives.
Yes,
And that's our daughter's legacy.
that's right.
There'll come a day, it hasn't come yet, but someday in the future, that we'll be able to say that it was lucky that she died because hundreds of thousands are living as a result. That's her legacy, and that's why we did this book.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for sharing this with everybody. And if you haven't done so already, please get this book. read it.
Victoria's Voice.
Victoria's Voice. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having us here today, and I want all the parents to know that I love you all, and I really hope this book helps save your child's life.